You know, a big part of what I'm doing on this particular road trip is searching for clear sky locations. So I'm driving all around the state of Tasmania with one eye on the map and apps like Clear Outside so that I can determine where I might be able to find some clear sky locations to shoot nightscapes. Now, obviously, in a 2-week period of time, I'm not going to get every night clear, but there are some times when there's a certain area that is clear and pretty much everywhere else isn't. So that search has led me here to this little town on the north coast of Tasmania called Bridport. Now, it's a beautiful little coastal town. And so what I'm going to do here is have a look around and see what sort of compositions and foregrounds I can find to shoot nightscape images. The forecast is telling me that tonight, somewhere between 7 o'clock till nearly midnight, there's a fair bit of clear sky. As you can see behind me, there's very fast moving clouds. It's really windy here, and that's why the clouds are zipping by. But hopefully that wind dies down and the clouds just dissipate and I can get something. So this is basically the direction I'm facing. So I'm going to have a look down here on the water and just see what I can find. Well, there's no surprises here that I've come across some more of these gorgeous rock formations that Tasmania is well renowned for. Have a look at these. Very nice indeed. Facing off in the direction that I would want to be facing. So I'll have a look more along this beach. I think there's a couple of headlands down there that could quite possibly have some good compositions as well. But I like that. It's simple. It's different to what I saw up at the Bay of Fires. It's a little more understated, but you know, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's a point of difference. There's nothing wrong. So I'll have a bit further of a look down this way and we'll just see what we can come up with. Well, you know, I suppose you could be forgiven for saying, well, you've already shot a lot of rocks and beaches and things like that around Tasmania. Well, I don't think so. I don't think you can ever shoot too much of something that you don't get at home. And I do not get this stuff at home. So while I'm here in Tassie, I'm going to take the opportunities that present themselves. Now, I'm not 100% sure about this, but you can see right down there in the background is the old pier. It goes way out there into the water. At the moment, because the tide's reasonably high, you're not seeing too much of it. Now, I'm not sure how much we're going to see of it at all, to be honest. And, you know, it might be worth a shot. It might not be. I really won't know until I have a look later on. But at least it's just down the track from where I was previously. So it's not a big deal to come here. And anyway, there's more rocks down here. So there's rocks everywhere. Well, I actually love this location so much that I've actually checked in. I've booked a site. There it is, 152. I'm going to camp here the whole night and I will be able to just walk down. It's only a stone's throw to the water from here. So that's going to save my aching legs. I'll tell you what, my body is so sore after all the rock climbing I've done on this trip so far. So I just need to have a bit of a break and I've got plenty of time. The sun's not going down for a while, so I'm just going to relax, grab something to eat and chill out. Well, so much for my quiet, relaxing evening. I've just taken a little drive down the coastline a fraction and come to this magnificent location. And I've decided to bite the bullet, set up a day to night time lapse. So there's a fair bit of cloud at the moment, as you can see. But I'm pretty confident there'll be a reasonable amount of clear sky. Anyway, I'm going to show you where I'm going to set this baby up. So I'll get packed up and let's go. All right, so as you can see, this is a bit of a trek through a jungle here to get to the location I want. But that's sort of okay because I don't want to be leaving gear here for hours on end. And then, because I'm going away from this spot, just in case someone finds it. Now I've got my Zepon Pons pan and tilt head. Let's get down there. Whew. All right, so this is my spot right here. Whew. I'll tell you what, I hope I can find my way back here later. So I'll set up right next to this tree here because I think I can lock my tripod legs into here. There's no wind here, it's well sheltered, which is fantastic. Okay, well this is what I've got set up. There's my background, gorgeous. I got my Zeppon Ponds pan and tilt head here, and the idea is it's going to take 5 hours to swing around this way and up. So it's going to follow the Milky Way galactic core as it rises above this headland. Initially it's going to be pointing down towards the rocks down there because I want to, in this twilight, gee, it's getting dark quick, 5 hours. So it's about a bit after 5 o'clock. It's going to go till a bit after 10 o'clock. And you can see I've got rocks weighing it down. I've got my world famous patented clamp on the bottom of the tripod leg to stop it from going anywhere, which works brilliantly. So it's rock solid, literally. And I'm going to get it going. I've got a lens warmer on there because I've been caught too many times. All right, so I better get it going because it's really getting dark. So you can see it there. That's the picture we're getting. That's the setup, pan and tilt head. I've got a lens warmer attached and there's the battery pack down there. Power bank to operate the camera itself there. And Bob is your uncle, and that's our scene. Okay, well I am going to vacate this scene right now. Everything's working perfectly on the camera. Conditions are actually quite good. I like the cloud cover. When I'm doing a time lapse, I just like to have that movement. Now, it looks like the cloud is pretty high, which is even better because that's generally slower moving cloud. And it also gives you more opportunity for the Milky Way galactic core and the stars to show through. I can see some stars now. Oh man, this is fantastic. Now I know I didn't consider what happens if it rains. Hey, it's not going to rain, is it? Well, if it rains, the camera's going to get wet. How about that? All right, anyway, I'm getting back to the car. Oh man, it's a bit of a walk back to the car. All right, so just in case you're wondering, I did remember to set the interval priority this time. So it will not go beyond about 13 seconds. So I've set the interval to 15 seconds. That means every 15 seconds it's going to be taking an image. So I've set it to 800 shots. I've maxed out my ISO to 6400. It's shooting at f2.8. So we'll see how that goes. I'm pretty happy with those settings. And yeah, that will round out to 5 hours of run time. So yeah, 5 hours, that's a long time, but hey, you can see it's still twilight, it's not dark yet, hence the day tonight. All right, that's it. I now am officially going to have a rest. Okay, well, I've had a very nice meal at the local pub just across the road there. Gee, it's good to feel civilized every now and then. But here I am, look at that gorgeous sky behind me. Look up there. Oh, it is amazing. Clear as a bell, 100% everywhere at the moment. So I'm going to get down there and start shooting these compositions. So let's go. So I'm shooting this tree you can see in the background, and a bit of this grass and rocks and so forth here. So here's my camera, portrait orientation. Pretty simple shot this, nothing complicated. I've just shot a single background shot and a number of light painted foreground shots, just something a little bit different, but I think this will look all right. There's a bit of wind around, so that's what I'm mostly concerned about here. You know, there's a lot of this tall grass here blowing around, so I'm a bit mindful of that. Anyway, the sky's looking great. I'm going to move on to my next composition. Okay, so what I'm doing here is got my tripod there set up. I'm just going to try some single exposures, just with a little touch of light painting, just to fill it in. So we'll see how that goes. 15-second shutter speeds. This is at f1.8. at ISO 3200 on the 20mm lens. There's a little bit of street lighting around here as well, so that makes it probably even more not needing much light. But yeah, and there's a couple of little wispy clouds going through at the moment, which I think will look fantastic on my time lapse, by the way. Yeah, so you know, sometimes you just got to keep things simple, and you don't always have to have the stacking and tracking and all of those other things. Sometimes you can just take single exposures and just have a bit of fun with your photography. Now for me personally, I like to do a bit of everything. I must admit, I don't do a lot of single exposures when I don't have much time, because I want to make the most of the opportunity and get the best possible quality. And that's always going to be tracking and stacking and blending. But having said that, just doing single shots like this, hey, it just makes you really take in the simple pleasure of just simply being out here. So I've been doing quite a few compositions down here by the beach. Pretty awesome. I've tried to keep it reasonably simple, and I mean, the sky is just so beautiful. I probably will get the tracker out and just do a few shots because there's plenty of space here, gorgeous open sky. All of the lights at the back here won't affect the tracker at all. It's really dark out to sea, which is exactly what I was hoping for it to be. I think I might have a rest because I've been walking around this beach a fair bit now. The time lapse has still got a bit to go, but hopefully that's doing its job back there. So yeah, very good. I think I'll have a cuppa. Well, here I am back at good old 152. Oh man, I'm feeling a bit weary, but I've got the thermos here, so I'm going to have a cup of tea. Looking forward to that. Just have a look up there behind us. Beautiful, clear Milky Way sky. Tasmania, you are turning it back on once more. You know, it really is interesting, this discussion, I guess you'd call it, that people have about the different types of nightscape photos that you can take. And I mentioned it before about singles and stacking and tracking and things like that. And you know, there's no right or wrong way of doing this. In my opinion, everything is fine. But you know, if you want the absolute highest technical quality, then you're going to go way beyond single exposures. There's just no two ways about that. If you want the best possible sky, then you're going to be using a star tracker. If you want higher quality than single shots, you might just want to stack images from a fixed tripod position. There's nothing you know, complicated about the concepts, but some people just don't want complications at all. They don't want to go through all the hoops and jump through all those things, and they just want to go out and enjoy the night sky. And for those people, single exposures are the way to go, and no worries. I mean, I was doing that tonight myself. So everything is good. So, you know, the concept of people saying that, oh, well, you know, it's got to look exactly the way my eyes saw it. Well, that's bull dust, because my eyes can't see much out there in the dark at all. I can tell you that right now. But I'll tell you what you do want the image to look like. You want it to look vibrant, you want it to look exciting, you want it to look well composed, you want it to look like it really takes you to that place. And that's where all of these other techniques come into it. Yeah, I know, sometimes we can get over heavy-handed with editing. That's not what I'm talking about. We all do that. I do it too sometimes. So, you know, it's all part of the learning process. But, you know, it is a process. It's a journey, and none of us will ever get to the end of this journey. I can tell you that right now, because it is so wide and far-reaching that it's way beyond any of our capacity to get to the end, whatever that looks like. But I tell you what, it's the journey. It's that twisting and turning, like the river. You don't know what's around that next bend. That is the exciting part. I'll tell you what else is exciting. This cookie I'm just about to dunk into my tea. Have a look at that. Hoo-hoo. And I guess just to perhaps illustrate my point, I'm going to get the tracker out now, set it up just down there on the beach, and shoot some tracked skies. if you've got the time, you can do it. I've got nowhere else to be right now, so I'm going to get the tracker out, my little Skywatcher Star Adventurer Mini here, set it up down there, and Bob's your uncle. Okay, well, the time has come to check out this time lapse. All right, let's hit the track. Okay, well, here we are. Interesting. I don't reckon it's turned around as far as I set it to, but it has moved, so that's good. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's doing what it's meant to do. It's got nice movement. Milky Way looks fantastic. I've been here long enough. I've got to unpack all of this stuff and get back to the car. I want to get some sleep tonight. So I'll leave you guys there. We'll come back in the morning and we'll wrap this baby up. Well, it's another beautiful morning here in Tassie, and this morning it's nowhere near as windy as it was last night, so I'm pretty happy about that because that was a real pain in the end. But look, I got some pretty good images last night. Now, regarding that time lapse at the end there, I did review the footage because I noticed it didn't pan all the way around. Well, I found out what the culprit was. A flat battery. I cannot believe it. These things normally last forever. The battery is one of these Sony NPF batteries, and in the pan part of the device, that one was flat. So obviously it couldn't go any further. But anyway, other than that, I'm absolutely wrapped with the images that I got here at Bridport. It's a beautiful place. If you're ever in Tasmania on the north coast of Tassie, come along to Bridport. This caravan park just stretches on forever. It just goes all the way along the shoreline here, and there's hardly anybody here in the winter. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I'm going to have this cuppa, have some brekkie, and move on to the next adventure. You guys have a fantastic week. I'll see you later.